Good morning to all of you, and with French generosity, I shall speak in English. Although Minister Fabius expects me to be fluent in French by the time COP21 occurs, I'm still struggling with that challenge, so I shall speak in English today. Minister Sapin, thank you very, very much for that very inspiring call to action. And I must say, you glossed over very perhaps humbly over an amazing announcement that institutional investors, all institutional investors in France, will henceforth disclose their carbon footprint. I really must say that is a game changer. The more every country decides to do that, the sooner we will be where we need to be. So thank you very much for that leadership, and I think that deserves a special applause. So my friends, this is actually a very exciting day. I have to tell you, some of us who had lunch with President Hollande and Minister Sapin yesterday got to cheat a little bit because we had a little summary of everything that is going to happen today in 1 hour. And I have to tell you, this is an exciting, exciting day with the many announcements that you will be delighted with. But let me step back for a moment from that and give you the context of what we're doing here, because sometimes we get so much into the weeds, sometimes we get so much into our daily task that we lose the sense of this amazing transformation that we're all contributing to. So let me perhaps paint a picture for you that what we are doing here all together is building a new home, because the home in which we lived has been proven to be unsafe, unreliable, and certainly unprofitable. And so we're building a new home for the 9 billion people who will soon be joining us. And that home, I would argue, is built on 4 pillars. The first, and you will excuse me if I put policy first, but that is my job. So the first is policy, where for many years, I would say for 20 years, but certainly very, very specifically in the last 5 years, governments have come together to increasingly give clarity both to the global international policy that will come to a head in COP21, where we will have an agreement here in Paris, but also at the same time to begin to put in place the national policies that are consistent with the long-term goal, with the long aspiration of keeping temperatures under 2 degrees. And those national policies have been evident over quite a few years with the growing number of regulations and legislations in countries that today are already at 800 around the world, but most recently with the collection of INDCs, the nationally determined contributions, none other than carbon management plans that all countries are already or will be soon submitting. So policy, very, very much a very important pillar of the new home that we're building. Second pillar, technology. I don't need to tell you how solar technology has just completely raced to the top, dropping out on cost, increasing in efficiency. Same for wind. Very important announcements on storage capacity. So all the technology really moving forward in order to make this transformation possible. So you have a pillar of policy, you have a pillar of technology. You have then a very important pillar, the third one, on business commitment. And the past 2 days have been an extraordinary witness of exponentially increasing commitment on the part of business to undertake the transformations internally, not just for operational efficiency, but to go beyond that into the true strategy, corporate strategy, to really align themselves with science-based targets. An amazing 2 days that truly were beyond my expectation. And then the fourth pillar that you represent today, finance. And I will talk a little bit about finance in a minute, but I want you to picture that these 4 pillars have, over the past few years, been growing up almost independently of each other. And what is absolutely exciting is to understand that now that we have a very firm basis on each of these four pillars, the quantum leap, the true transformation that we are on the brink of witnessing is going to come through the interlinking and intertwining of all of these pillars, because they will work with each other very, very soon. They're already beginning to work with each other very soon in order to get us over the hump and into a completely new economic system that is based on low carbon, as explained by Minister Sapin. So to go into finance a little bit, and also with a historical eye, I have witnessed over just 5 years ago, what we call climate finance, which is a total misnomer, but climate finance was truly just being concentrated on individual little projects in countries, a wind project here, a hydro here, solar array over there, energy efficiency over here, some land management over there. Very, very incipient, individualized, isolated little projects, but nothing that was really transformational of the national economy, let alone of the world economy. That began to move when the multilateral development banks, truly under the leadership of the World Bank, but taking all of the other MDBs also under their wing, have formed a very, very powerful alliance that for the first time in the history of MDBs are actually working in a coordinated fashion in order to align their lending policy toward the same goal. So very transformational what the MDBs are doing. And then we saw private capital begin to move in the same direction. But where we begin to get to the turning point is when we begin to get, as you will hear today, regulators and systemically important investors truly beginning to take this on board. That is really the turning point. And Minister Sapin has already mentioned what to me is already the first sign of the transformation. You must admit that something is afoot when the G20 asks the Financial Stability Board to look into climate risk. That, to me, is a very, very clear signal that we have actually reached the levels, reached the scale of the importance in the financial system that this deserves. Because ultimately, my friends, where we need to come out after all of this process is, frankly, for a new standard for sound financial system. That is ultimately our goal from the financial point of view. Now, of course, there are many, many pieces that need to be put into this puzzle. We have never done this before, so we're all inventing as we go. In Spanish, we have a wonderful saying, se hace camino al andar, which is you create the path as you walk, and that is exactly what we're doing with respect to our response to climate change from all four pillars, but certainly from the financial perspective. So it is a daunting task, it is a complex task, but you could also see it as actually being a very simple task. It is a task that has two steps. The first, to identify and quantify the risk. And the second, to put in all of those instruments to manage the risk. And to manage the risk in a timely fashion. Frankly, it does us no good to begin to manage the risk after it is too late. We have to be able to manage the risk such that we can then accompany this transition in a thoughtful, orderly, planned way. Nobody is interested, nobody is benefited in abrupt transitions here, in abrupt changes. We're all benefited by orderly, thoughtful pathways that get us to new standards for financial system. Ultimately, what we want, the goal, is to green the financial system of the world. Not just of China, that has frankly already taken the lead, but of the world. Green the financial system of the world. That is our goal. We're still trying to understand and quantify the risk, but we do know one thing for sure, that the highest risk is not doing anything. That we can all agree to. And I am really very grateful to Swiss Re, who very recently, in a conference call that we had with the insurance industry, put out what to me brings everything into one sentence. And Swiss Re said, here's the deal. A world that stays under 2 degrees is insurable. Beyond that, we just don't know. Thank you.